Can you predict the future? See, I kind of get tired of being asked this question. The future can be easily predicted the more dumb or simple minded someone is. It's hard to predict a genius's move. However, if we think a bit about why would you be interested in predicting the future in the first place? Because everyone is obsessed with the future because they kind of don't have any plan for the now. They don't have anything to do at the present. Why are you so obsessing about the truth of the future? It will happen nonetheless. Time flies. So, what is in the future? Whatever it may portray, whatever it may have, well, it will come sooner or later. But if we are to think a bit about that, well, the point is very simple. The more simple minded you are, the more ignorant you are. Why would the future matter when you're going to just repeat your past again and again? If you're trapped in vicious cycles, self destructive patterns, well, you're just going to repeat them regardless. So, why does it matter what the future will bring? Whatever it brings, you're still trapped in your own, mental nonsense and, circus of the mind, right? And people who don't have anything special to do in the present, obviously they will always fantasize about the future. And when the future comes and becomes the present, they will still think about the next future possible, right? See, you don't have to read sci fi books, you don't have to do anything, you don't have much necessity for sci fi video games or bother to play them to so called catch a glimpse of the future. Because all of that sooner or later becomes our reality. When our parents were young, they would look at Star Trek as some kind of distant future. Nowadays, if we think a bit, it doesn't look like that far away, right? If we look at different kind of movies typically portraying post-apocalyptic universes, those don't look so distant, so distant future after all. Unfortunately, in many war-torn countries, that's kind of a present day, unfortunately. Yes, that's kind of a present day life, unfortunately, because war-torn countries, they don't have too much to enjoy anymore. But when people are comfortable and they don't have anything to do with their life, what will happen in the future is obviously the ultimate fantasy, right? Well, the only thing you can know for sure in the future is that you will leave your physical body. Whether of accident or whether of age, that is the only thing that you can be sure of it will happen. Anything else? Well, that is just a simple probability, right? Everyone imagines that they're going to be some kind of hero in some, sci-fi world. Well, society has a lot of societal agendas, right? Psychological engineering, cultural engineering, and all sorts of these. And each of these are being put to practice, right? You don't have to be playing cyberpunk to get a glimpse of the future because we're kind of heading that way regardless, right? We're becoming slowly and surely beta testers without most people's consent, without most people's knowledge of a cyberpunk like environment. Because as corporatism seems to become more and more prevalent everywhere, and the idea of things being loved and people being used becoming more and more prevalent as well. Well, cyberpunk doesn't sound anymore as something of the future, right? The only exciting thing about that game, besides its possible fluidity and the combat, well, the point is, if you die, you're gonna be reborn. In reality, you only have one life, and there is no save game or load game. The very simple point is, well, you don't need to bother yourself with the future. We're anyways becoming beta testers of so-called futures. Yes, of that which we would call futures, well, we are becoming beta testers. People are imagining a communist future. Don't worry too much. We're already living one. It's just that it's disguised under democracy. Why is it called the power of the people? Because if the people are asleep, they are easily going to give their power to the masses, right? Not to the mass, to their leaders, maybe. Well, I wanted to present it in a lengthier way, but let's put it short. When the people are ignorant, the leaders will take advantage of that. Why do you think all societal environments collapse? Because they all look, all governing systems, they sound perfect on paper, but they all rely on the people being ignorant, being asleep. And once that happens, well, society will hit a certain critical level of ignorance Beyond that, there is only decadence. That used to be something we would think of probably as a distant future, a disharmonic future. But, well, it is our reality now. We don't have to think about it anymore. When we were children, probably we would think in our nightmares that that could become a reality. Well, it has become one. The point is, we don't need to fantasize much about the future because each and every day it is becoming more and more real. And not because we're manifesting it, because a lot of influential people are working towards that, right? They're working day and night to make everyone experience the version of future that they would want. For the moment, it's just wars and separation and suffering and torment and exploitation, right? So this is the kind of future many people may seem to fantasize about because, well, when you combine generational trauma with people being obsessed with drama, well, this is kind of the future that people end up fantasizing. And when you look at so many games nowadays, there's this overwhelming disease, I may even say it, of games, like post-apocalyptic futures and the such. Don't take those too much into account. Don't waste your time with those because you're not going to survive 5 minutes in reality if those games become actual reality. I've been saying it in previous videos. Those characters are just dumb because they don't take a shit, they don't eat, they don't have any biological life. Everything about them seems way too perfect anyways. Most people wouldn't survive probably a few days in such an environment. But, well, dreams are free and, well, they're not entirely free because they cost your time. And as I said, people who don't have anything to do in the present, they will obviously fantasize about the future, right? So the point is, why bother about the future when you're stuck in the same mental cycles, emotional cycles, when you're stuck in the same doing of things, right? 10 years in the future, you're still probably going to wake up. You're still going to go to a stupid job. You're still going to feel bad about yourself, right? It's going to look probably differently. Probably it's going to be flashier or it's going to be uglier. But the cycle of life will go as the same, right? Because we are supposed to be the most intelligent species on this beautiful little planet, but we are the only ones that are somehow supposed to pay for our existence. Why? Because it suits some people's egos, right? Because it suits some sickly egos that they make fun of you, and, well, you simply truly agree to that, right? You're so stuck in your comfort zone, but you're still wondering about the future. Well, as long as you're stuck in your comfort zone, you're still gonna do the same fucking things again and again. Maybe in a slightly different form here and there, but you're still gonna do the same thing. Probably you're gonna swap from one destructive behavior to another, but it's still gonna be the same mumbo jumbo circus in the mind, right? So, yes, the future can be predicted, the future can be analyzed and observed, and the possibilities and probabilities may be calculated depending on how many variables you already know. But it usually is a loss of time, unless you're some kind of military analyst or some kind of economist. To those people, the future may be important. To a historian, it doesn't matter because they're all about the past, right? And, well, why would it matter anyways? Because you can only live and experience in the present. People think I'm thinking about the future, but you're doing it now in the present. The future does not exist. It is just irrelevant. It is just irrelevant. Yes, the future is just a figment. It is just an imagination. You can imagine whatever it will happen. It doesn't matter. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't happen. It's not gonna make you wiser. It's not gonna cure your hunger. It's not gonna cure your thirst. It's not gonna cure your diseases. It's not gonna solve any of your lively problems. But it can make you dumber anyways. Because the more you waste time imagining things, the more compliant you will become through becoming even more entrenched into that. Because, well, good distractions make very compliant people. Why do you think you've got social media in the first place, right? So if you're thinking about what new things will the future bring, it will always be the same things, but they will be delivered in a new, let's say, package, in a more interesting and teasing package. Because if you look at how things have been going in the history, they've always been in the same loop. It's just that they've been always delivered in a different form. And people have a short memory because if you keep them in comfort, they will always forget everything. They will even forget their pains because, first and foremost, it didn't hurt enough so that it didn't make them care enough about those pains. And some people, if you take them through that enough, they learn hopelessness, so they become masochists. They will love their pains. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life, and this being said, Ferenc Jan Bort signing out.